Hello, my name's Paul Tyler, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm a photographer. I'm semi-retired now, so I don't do commercial photography anymore. I just take pictures because I love to take pictures, and I also teach. The age group of my students is between 10 years old as the youngest and 80 years old as the oldest. And in abilities, I have students who are complete beginners who turn up with a smartphone, right through to the very capable amateurs who are actually thinking about turning professional. Naturally, during the time that we have the lessons, I get asked many questions, and it seemed a good idea to create these videos being inspired by the questions I was asked, so that they're practical, they're useful, and I hope that you find them interesting as well. In today's video, I've been asked by a few of my more adept students what I think about film photography. And the truth of the matter is that you can get film cameras on eBay very cheaply. Good quality cameras and good quality lenses, because obviously everybody's gone digital. There's a lot of talk on the internet at the moment about whether film is better than digital, or digital is better than film. And it's getting quite silly because people are condemning one and upping the other one. But it's a bit like comparing apples and pears as far as I'm concerned. They're different. Digital photography is different to film photography. It's about what you want to do and how you want to do it. I left college donkeys years ago, and in those days there was only film. So I learned everything with a film camera. So I learned all about film. I learned how it works, how to process it, how to use it. And then early 2000, I started using digital. And I learned all about digital. And because I'd learnt digital, I learnt Photoshop, and I learnt Lightroom, and I realised that photography had changed forever. The digital and film are completely different. I still use digital. My two digital cameras are here. I did have professional digital camera, but as I've retired now, I don't want to lump a great big heavy professional digital camera around with me. So I have these two. Basically this one I use for my street photography, which is a Fuji. It's the Fuji X-T10. It's light, it's small, and it's perfect for street. And this is my Nikon D70. I bought this in the United States of America when I went on holiday very early on, when they very first came out, because they were the same price in dollars as they were in pounds. And in those days the pound was worth a lot more against the dollar. So, Nikon D70. 6 megapixels. I suppose you're used to seeing digital cameras that have 24 megapixels. They have even more than that now. Are megapixels important? The amount of megapixels important? I don't think so. I love my D70. When I sold my professional kit, I dug my D70 out of the bag and I sent it off to Nikon, and I asked them if they could service it for me, full service, so that it was like new. And I got an email back from them that said they could sell me a Nikon D3300 that had been refurbished for the same price as it would cost me to have this serviced. And I said, no thank you very much. The only advantage that gives me is it's far more megapixels and it takes video. But I don't want to take video. If I wanted to take video, I'd buy a video camera. No, that's not true. I'd buy one of the latest digital DSLRs. Of course I would, with high megapixel count, because that would be important. But for photography, I don't think it is. So when I see all the articles on the internet and watch the videos on the internet about which is better, film or digital, and the guys say that digital's far superior because film only has an equivalent of about 4 megapixels or 6 megapixels, and to be honest with you, the science behind those calculations is rubbish. You can't work it out that way. But 6 megapixels for me is fine. This of course has got more than 6 megapixels. This is a newer camera and got a different sort of sensor. But this is a smaller sensor. It's 1.5 on a full frame. This is the same. This is an APC sensor. I like the Fuji sensor because it's different to all the Nikons and Canons. They've come up with their own sensor, which is, as far as I'm concerned, superior. It's also mirrorless. But obviously, if you're going to use digital, there's absolutely no point in having a mirror going up and down, slapping up and down. You don't need it because you can view through the viewfinder what the lens is seeing, the same as you could with a DSLR in the old days, or a SLR in the old days. So, I'm not going to get into the argument which is better. I'm telling you, I use digital cameras. I don't think that megapixels is that important. I never have. And I'm happy to use a 35mm film camera. I haven't got a problem with that. I think they take great pictures. Of course, the one thing we do need to discuss, which has nothing to do with pixels, is the dynamic range. And don't get dynamic range confused with exposure latitude, they're different things. When it comes down to dynamic range, your very basic, cheap digital camera beats film hands down every time. As far as I'm concerned, and I've read different things, but my personal experience shows me that with slide film, I have a dynamic range of about 6 stops. So from the darkest point to the brightest point, if it's more than 6 stops, then you're either going to block out in the shadows or you're going to blow out in the highlights. With film, print film, it's about 5 stops, and with black and white you can get away with 7. Now this has nothing to do with exposure latitude, because exposure latitude has to do with underexposing or overexposing film and what you can get away with, and I'll actually discuss that when I do the video about film. So, dynamic range, digital cameras, far in advance of what film's got. So why would I recommend using film? Well, I managed with a dynamic range of 5 or 6. It meant I had to think more about my picture. It meant I had to think more about how I was going to control the lighting. And I think it made me more creative. And that's why I think that you'll enjoy film. It makes you think more. Once you understand how film works, and you've used it, and you can see where it goes wrong, just like you can with digital, the only difference is you have to wait for your slides or your prints to come back from the processors. And that wait is good because it gives you a chance to think. So, that's just something else to think about. If 35mm film camera was good enough to print a double page spread, glossy double page spread in a magazine, or Playboy, pull out that size, then it's more than capable of taking great pictures now. And 6 megapixels, so if their science is right, the guys that say that film is equivalent to 4 or 6 megapixels, then I haven't got a problem with that. I'm fine with that. Although I go back and say again that the science on that is, let's say doubtful. Let's say doubtful. One man came up with a way of working it out, and I'm not so sure that it's that clever. I don't think it matters anyway. They're different, apples and pears. So, why do I think that it's a good idea to use film? It all depends what you want from your photography. With a digital camera, you can stick your batteries in it, take spare batteries, take spare cards. You can go out off onto the hills or wherever you want to go out into the street, and you can take, technically you could say if you've got enough batteries and enough cards with you, you can take 10,000 pictures. Then you can sort through them all, find your favourite out of the 10,000, stick it on Instagram, and because it's such a lovely picture, perfectly composed, perfectly taken, perfectly exposed, you're going to get hundreds and hundreds of likes on it. And if that's what you like to do, then digital's perfect for you. If you're taking pictures in dodgy situations or badly lit situations, you can take a couple of pictures, look in the back of the camera, see what you've got, work out where it's not quite right, make the adjustments needed, take another picture, look in the back of the camera, look at the LCD, see what's what. However. you're losing a little bit of what photography, what I think photography is. For me, photography is about exposing a picture perfectly. It's about planning your picture. It's about working out what it is that you want to take. And when you go out and you've got 3 rolls of film and you've only got 36 pictures on each roll, you haven't got thousands of pictures to get it right. You want to get it right there and then in the camera. So with digital, some of my more advanced students come along and I say to them that you're a couple of stops out there, and they say it doesn't matter, I photograph in RAW, I shoot in RAW. It makes no difference, I sort it all out when I get to my computer. Okay, that's fine, that's just a different type of photography. You get back and put it onto your computer. I mean, I've taken pictures with my digital camera and they're pretty dull, and then you run them through some filters and Photoshop and come out with something amazing. And everybody goes, wow. And if I see one more picture of the sea or a river that looks like smoke and clouds all smoothed across the sky, I might scream. It's easy with a digital camera. And it's getting boring now because everybody's doing it. Go out and buy yourself a neutral density filter. Shut your shutter speed to really slow. Close down your aperture so that you've got great depth of field. And away you go. Look in the back of the camera and see how it came out. I'm not complaining, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. What I'm saying is that if you really, really, really want to learn your trade, then to go out with a camera, something like this. To go out with a camera that has no programming whatsoever, fully manual, hasn't even got a lightness meter, this one, it doesn't work. Using a light meter separate from the camera, work out everything and then take a few pictures with that. And then when you get back, look at them and see how close you got to excellent. When you've been doing that for a while and you've got really great pictures with that, then maybe you could go back to the digital camera and use it with a bit more style and a bit more class. As I say, these are just my views. I'm sure lots of people out there think, why bother with film when I can take amazing pictures with digital? I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing about the amount of megapixels. If you think that 36 megapixels is really important, or 40 megapixels on a larger format camera is important, then absolutely fine. I'm not going to argue with you. But all I know is that I can take a picture with my Nikon D70, 6 megapixels, and you can blow it up to whatever size you like with modern printing, and it comes out absolutely fine, spot on, sharp, and all the rest of it. So I should be doing that in the near future. I should be comparing digital against film. Not to compare the quality, because they're different things. Film gives you different things. But you have to shoot with it to see the difference. Shoot with slide film and see what the difference is with that, with any of the digital cameras. It's different. It's different. In fact, Fuji, that's not my Fuji, that's my Fuji. Fuji actually have, on the back of their camera, you can go through and you can select the different types of Fuji slide film, so that the JPEGs that it creates, not the RAW, but the JPEGs that it creates, actually gives you that, with their new sensor, that actual feel of the slide film. And there's lots of forums now, Fuji forums and YouTube videos, where people are actually saying to you, don't shoot in RAW, shoot in Fuji JPEGs, it's a game changer. Well, I'm saying to you, let's shoot in the actual Fuji Velvia or Fuji Pruvia, and let's do it for real and get them scanned in. So that's just my opinion. I think it's fun. I think it's great fun to go out with a camera. This is my street photography camera, as I said earlier, but I'm going to be going out with a couple of film cameras. I've got 5 altogether, and we're going to be trying them out and seeing what sort of different things we can do with the film cameras, with the digital cameras. I'm going to have some fun. I hope you want to join me. and I hope you get something out of my videos. Comment below, interested in what you think. If you've got any questions or any ideas of videos you'd like me to do, then let me know. I look forward to hearing from you. In the meantime, keep safe, keep photographing, and I'll see you next time round.